Had lunch with a really good friend of mine down in Atlanta, Georgia, a couple of months ago. Guy that's doing very well, great guy, and we just were having lunch and we were talking about some of the things about what's coming down the pipe. This guy handles a lot of people's money and their future. And he told me, he said, Don, I'm really concerned about what's going to happen in the future. He goes, we can't keep going like we are. And right at this time, this is November 2010, and silver is spiked up. Gold is at record heights and is continuing to climb on a regular basis. If I'm better prepared, then my neighbors are better prepared. And that's been evident over the past few weeks especially. And we're going to talk about who is my neighbor. You know, one of the greatest men that ever lived was asked that question. Who is my neighbor? And the answer surprised those who asked. And he took the example of someone that wasn't in their culture, that was someone looked down upon, but that was hurt and injured from thieves. And the neighbor was the one who came and helped that person. You know, here in America, we built this nation on self-reliance, independence, and freedom. Yet when time came, we worked together to solve the problems. I think it's time we got back to those wonderful and traditional roots. Now, my first priority for my neighbors is my family. I have a wife and 3 kids. That's my number one priority. And I'm going to try to see to them first, but I'm not limited just to them. I'm limited to my extended family, which I've been talking to my brother. In fact, we had lunch today. It was really good. And just talking about some of the things that are going on in the world. It's time to get prepared. But not only my family, my extended family, my friends, those that listen to me and those that don't. But it's our community. And one of the things that my channel, to me, my mission, I guess I should say, is to prepare those, not just here near where I live, but even my good friends that are in California, that are in Minnesota, that are in Maine, that are in Florida, that are in Texas, or wherever they may be, is to get the message that we need to prepare ourselves for an uncertain economic future. So with that said, I think that we need to spread the message of freedom and self-reliance. You know, right now, most of us are reliant on our local grocery. We're reliant on whether it be Walmart, Target, UPS, because we buy so much from the internet. You need to have some things put aside. I teach a class on World War II for a homeschool group, which my kids are homeschooled. But we have other kids that come down and we talk about things in history. And one of the things we've been studying is World War II. That began about 70 years ago. And the thing is pulling together and the survival instincts that we seem to have lost in this country. We're so dependent on our government or on the way things, commerce and the way things travel, that if those things were stopped, we would really be in a world of hurt. And we see a direct result of that with Katrina and what happened in the aftermath. Listen, people have not changed since the beginning of time. They're still a very selfish and they're very concerned about their needs. We need to be more concerned about not only ourselves, but that others are prepared as well, across the country and across the world. I get a lot of messages from UK, even Russia, India, all over the world, where people are saying, man, I really appreciate your channel. And I hope that I'm getting the message and that I'm instilling in them the message of freedom and of self-reliance and not dependence on the current way things are going. You know, for 6,000 years plus, man has had survival instincts. He's had to check his survival instincts to wrestle against natural disasters or just the natural elements that are around us. Using our minds, working together, being of one accord, being a community, and having respect for our fellow man. It's one of the things I feel that in the 21st century we've lost. but it's something we can't forget. Don't be lulled into sleeping through and depending on others to take care of your future. You know, it doesn't matter what you have and, you know, what you're putting together. You know, we have some property and, you know, we have a lot of things that we're setting up to be somewhat self-reliant. But to be honest with you, I don't want to be known as some kind of crazy survivalist. And that's one of the things you got to be careful of, is when talking to others, when building relationships toward mutual assistance. It's just the natural thing to do, is to have some self-reliance. And to be honest with you, a lot of people get turned off because of people that are just like hyper and crazy and impatient to be ready. Listen, it's what you do every day. Doing a little bit every day to prepare yourself for an uncertain future. Not to go crazy, just to be prepared. Hey man, you got to take care of your family. You have a responsibility to take care of your family, if you're a man or if you're a woman. A lot of single moms out there. Just came across a channel, a beautiful channel, A Woman's World. I'll have the link down in the sidebar, or down in the description. But it's this African American girl who is just concerned about her future and has a wonderful channel and about a single woman that's preparing herself and protecting herself. You need to check it out. Now, one of the things that's most important when it comes to survival is having water. Now, I'm just fortunate to where we have a really clear running stream on our property. But even above stream, things can happen. And we have a big Berkey water filter system that we can filter water. Have a swimming pool, which in an emergency, it's a lot of water. Do have a natural spring here on the property, which we're going to be taking a look at that in a future video on how to tap into that spring. I've got a guy that I'm going to be working with that's doing a great job, Hydro Missions, who is in Nigeria at this point right now, helping others. Helping others. That's the key. But buddy, if you don't have water, you're sunk. 3 days without water, that's it. And in a self-reliance world, we depend on the waterworks, the water company, to supply our water. What if it's contaminated? What if something happens? What if it's shut off? What do? You need to be concerned about water. Now, not only water, of course, you have food to be concerned about. In this stream, we even have fish. But that's going to be very limited. You may say, well, I'm going to run out in the woods and kill deer. Let me tell you what, if it ever comes down to a food crisis in our nation, the deer population, the rabbits, they're going to all be decimated within just no time. Squirrels, whatever, possums, whatever you decide. You need to have a nice garden. You know, you say, well, man, I just have a little apartment. They have some really cool systems where you can actually grow your own vegetables with hanging pots. Now, we're going into the fall right now, so that's going to be limited. We do have a garden, and we're going to be talking about that in later videos. But until then, you need to stock up beans and rice and some food, dehydrated foods, or whatever you need to have them on hand in case the grocery store shelves become empty. From some sort of a crisis, you know, it could even be, and of course we've seen it lately, a terrorist attack of some sort. It really disrupts commerce in our nation. Now, one important element to being prepared is to be able to defend your supplies. You know, it would really be a shame for you to stock up food and water. Take the time to do what you need to do to prepare for your protection for your family, and then have those come and forcibly take those things which you've worked so hard for, especially those that have been very lazy in their own preparations. And believe me, if I had not prepared anything and I have 3 starving children, there's no telling what I would do. So it's a responsibility as a good American, as a good person, or as just a good person in general, whether you're an American or not, to store up some vital things that you may need. One of the things, and I'll tell you an easy way to do it, is to go, and a lot of times with grocery stores, they have these big 5-gallon food grade containers, and they throw them out at the end of the day. And you can find those. They're glad for you to take them, which that's where we've gotten most of ours. And there are online sources as well to get these kind of containers. But to stock up on just the basics. They don't have to be the expensive freeze-dried foods. You can get, or dehydrated, you can just get rice and beans that are already dried. They're very cheap and easy to store. You need to do that. Now, you know, those of you who get excited and upset and you're running around, relax, go to the store, take about $10, purchase a few things to put back, you'll feel so much better. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm the biggest doomsayer, because I'm not saying that's necessarily going to happen. But, you know, I have car insurance, and when I get in my car and drive down the road, I'm not expecting for something to happen. But if it does, I have good car insurance. Same thing here. Store up on your food. I will be doing a future video on storing food in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers in these 5-gallon buckets. So just stay tuned. It's coming. Now, a prime example of defending and being able to defend your property or your resources and your family is to have firearms, and for self-defense, for home defense. These things can be needed at any time. Got a phone call the other night about 11 o'clock, and my next door neighbor, who is my brother-in-law, called me and said there's somebody tapping on our window. And they went around the house tapping on their window. So they called me. Well, this is a prime example of if your neighbor's prepared, which I was the neighbor, then they're better prepared. When I got over there, there were 5 men walking around, one with a pistol, one with a hammer, and one with a golf club, and the other 2 were just walking around. If you're better prepared, then your neighborhood is better prepared. And now that gives me the springboard to say, guys, next time this happens, we need to put together a plan, which we're going to do. You can use situations to help people to be better prepared, more self-reliant for that matter. So the next time I'm in need and someone may be messing around my house, then my next door neighbor is going to be able and prepared to help and assist me. Now, I'm very pro law enforcement, and I think that they do a great job. I have many, many friends that are law enforcement, federal, state, and local. Evil prevails when good men do nothing. My brother-in-law was walking down the road with his 2-year-old daughter, and this guy that lives on this street was driving a moped, and he was drunk, and he was riding circles around my brother-in-law and his daughter, spewing threats. And so he called me on my cell phone, and we were having a cookout, actually, behind our house. Had about 50 people just having a great cookout and a big time. And so as I came around the corner and started up the street, I heard the guy on the moped say he was going to blow his effing head off. So here's my brother-in-law with his 2-year-old daughter, and it just freaked him out. Of course, after I had a long chat with the boy on the moped, and he wasn't a boy, he was actually my age, we haven't had any problems from this guy since then. But what's funny is, and we did call the police and we made a report, but many of my neighbors came down and said, hey, I want to thank you. That guy's been terrorizing us for months. That is pathetic. Listen, if you don't stand up and do the right thing, then evil will prevail. Not to take the law in your own hands. We have law enforcement for that. But you need to be prepared to protect you and your family in the meantime. Now, one of the things we do on the Suits channel is we do bring products to you and things that will help you to be better prepared. And just like this Lanata, this Maxpedition pack, it's a Versa pack, or it's actually a gear slinger. Great piece of equipment, and you know, I try to just do things that are really the most high quality, because in a bad situation, when it's something you depend on, you need to have the best. And a review is coming up soon. In fact, they're out of stock right now. It's the only reason I haven't reviewed it. But just being prepared medically, having medical supplies around, it's very important to have these things that are life-threatening. Food, water, defense, first aid. These are the things that you need to prepare. Now, my buddy, you know who you are, and you inspired me to make this video. And I just really want to say thank you. And those of you who are watching, my mission here on the Suits channel is to help you to be better prepared, is to help my neighbor be prepared so that I'm better prepared. And on the transverse, I hope that I'm that neighbor that's better prepared so that you're prepared. You know, here's one of my favorite paintings that we have, and it's an Andrew Wyeth, and the title is The Young American. And I'm going to tell you, to me, this exemplifies the spirit of America and where we were around the turn of the century. This guy would help you at any time. And you know what? We need to get back to those roots, helping others. Thanks for watching. God bless America, and long live the Republic. Just a little special note to my buddy Chuck. With your hammer, you need to trade that hammer in for a nice pistol.